Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video we head out for a nice day sail which turns into a very hairy event.
Good. Did you wet flush or dry flush?
Wet flush.
You left the trigger to the right?
Oh no, I just pumped.
So you left the trigger to the right?
Yes.
Okay, that's a dry flush.
Well, yeah, that's what I did then.
Okay. Alright, here we go. Huh? It can't hear you from there.
I really need to get the pulley at the top of the mast oiled. It squeaks a lot when raising the mainsail.
Keep it tight. Pull tight. Tighter. Oh, hang on, it's there. Go. What the?
We're doing stuff.
We are now on the lake again next weekend. There is practically no wind right now, but it's supposed to be picking up to 5-8 miles an hour from the southwest. And as you can see, conditions are incredibly calm. There's no wind at all. And we are just chilling here in the bay, trying to get moving a little bit. There's one other sailboat and lots of other motorboats out. And we will keep you posted as things change here on the beautiful lake of Lake Allatoona. Dear, do you have any words?
Hi.
And that's it.
After hardly sailing for a bit, we decided to anchor in the same cove that we had the previous weekend. While we are at anchor, I decide to wire up the trickle charger solar panels that we have on the roof to the batteries so that they can maintain a charge.
Okay, that's good to know.
That's interesting. So we can give them some watermelon.
We could, yes.
Oh, wow. 13 years ago, Mr. Rogers died.
Okay.
I don't see why it's a big deal, but okay. Girl, don't you do it. But you just living out. No wonder you slipped out so easy out of the womb. She's so cute.
It's a fairly simple job. I have the two solar panels on the roof that are wired together, which then wire to this wire here, and that goes to the batteries. Currently it's only connected to one battery, but eventually I will have two batteries wired in parallel, which is why I got two solar panels to ensure that the entire battery bank has a sufficient charge.
I want to put it on the engine battery because let's say the batteries are dead, but that one is still charged because we have the solar panels attached to it. That will allow us to start the engine, which the engine can then charge more. So, but if it's hooked to the other battery, the lights and stuff may work, but the engine will not. So I'm going to hook it to the engine battery. That way we can always start the engine, and we can use that power to charge the other battery as well.
Yeah.
I need to wire these together, though, so that they share power. Instead of using just one battery, make it into a battery bank that combines all of its power.
Yeah, that way it's for like the lights and
Yeah, because
it's for everything.
yes,
That'd be perfect.
we have two batteries. Right now, they're wired up weird. One has the engine attached to it, and both of them have a red cable, the feed line, coming off to this switch. I always set the switch to both batteries simply because I don't know which one is working better. But if I were to get them wired up in parallel, it increases the available power without increasing the voltage. Everything on the boat is 12 volts, so you don't want to mess with that. But you want to increase the available power. So you wire them up in parallel, and it does that. Right now, they're not wired up in parallel. They're wired up two batteries individually. So I'll have to play with that. But for now, I'm going to wire the trickle chargers to the battery that the motor is attached to. That way we can at least always start the motor. Keep us pointed out of here.
After a few hours anchored in the cove, the winds had picked up to the forecasted 8 to 10 miles an hour, so we decided to lift the anchor and do a little bit of sailing.
Do what? Oh, yes. Yeah.
I left this clip long in order to show the full story of how we should have ran aground, but luckily did not. Lauren is steering the boat while pulling on the mainsail raising halyard, while I am at the mast feeding the mainsail sliders up the mast.
Keep turning.
The main issue is that we are not staying on a very good course into the wind, which causes me to delay my raising the sail while Lauren gets us back on course.
Keep pulling this line tight.
This causes us to take a lot longer than planned to raise the sail and turn around.
Yes, you have to.
As you will see in a bit, this delay causes a situation where by the time I get back to the helm and realize where we are very far on the wrong side of a reef marker, and our depth sounder is reading 6 inches. I do not know why we did not run aground. Thankfully we didn't, but I don't know why.
Scoot over to the other side. Chill out. I need you to sit back. It doesn't matter what side, but behind the tiller. Sorry to be so demanding and grumpy, but when doing that kind of stuff, it has to be done a certain way. What? What?
That's what you mean today?
Preferably. Ground. Yeah, what do you think I'm trying to do? That's why, see that reef marker?
Yeah.
We need to be outside of that.
What do we do?
Just calm down. That means there's only 1/2 of a foot underneath us. That's very bad. God, I hope we don't hit ground. Come on, start climbing, start climbing. Son of a bitch.
Okay, good, climbing. Climbing.
Good. Oh my God. I'm curious, A, why did the depth alarm not go off when we were too shallow? And B, why did we not hit ground? We should have hit ground.
Hey, I'm glad we didn't.
I'm very glad we didn't, but we should have. Okay, we're safe now. We're back in the main channel. That's why you have to point in specific directions. That pole in the water is called a reef marker. It means extra shallow ground there. That's when the lake is full. The lake is not full right now, which means that water is only a few feet below the surface. I'm very curious why we did not hit bottom. Yeah, there's supposed to be a shallow water alarm that goes off when we're less than 6 feet. Why didn't it go off? That was at 0.5 feet.
Now that we are safely out of the cove and turned around, we continue a very leisurely downwind sail.
Okay. Everything's good now. Everything is under control. Uh-oh. Well, I gotta switch the sail over because otherwise we're gonna jibe, and that is super bad. That's a proper jibe right there. One that didn't go wrong.
Here is where I notice our traveler halyard outer casing is broken. The core of the rope is still intact, but the outer layer of the rope is broken and sliding freely, which jams up the traveler system as I try to adjust the sails.
Normally I wouldn't care, but good. Keep it right there.
Here's our approximate path as we left the safety of the cove and began sailing downwind. We only made it to here in front of this marina before deciding to turn around and head home.
As you can see, we are now wing on wing, and we picked up our anchor from the cove that we were sitting in, and we are sailing north on the lake again. And here in about 30-ish minutes, we will probably turn around and motor on back to the marina and end the day.
I have to pause it here in order to explain the rest of the story because conditions did pick up as we turned around and began to head upwind. I was quite overwhelmed and was not able to begin filming while trying to control the boat. Everything went well, considering, but I quickly found out that trying to control this large of a boat in 8 to 10 miles an hour of wind for my relatively low experience level very quickly became too much. I will give myself credit as I handled the boat quite well while being overwhelmed trying to tack upwind down the narrow channels of the lake. As we got closer and closer to home, we entered a more exposed area of the lake, and the wind and wind gusts became too much, and we ended up dropping the sails altogether and motored back into the marina. It was quite the experience in learning what my limits are at my current experience level, and in a few videos you will see that another day came up with 8 to 10 miles an hour of wind, and I go out alone in order to improve my skills in this particular area. Thank you very much for watching, and I greatly appreciate your support.